guys, TechMentor with the video for you guys. In today's video, we're going to be unboxing a used cheap iPhone 5S in mid 2021, and we're going to show you guys how it is if you're buying a used phone and why this phone still is a decent phone in mid 2021. We're going to go ahead and unbox it and also give you guys some tips and tricks if you're buying a pre-owned device that you want to buy relatively inexpensive at a discounted price. But before we go ahead and get started with today's video, if you guys are new to the channel, we do a lot of tech news reviews and giveaways, so make sure to hit that like and subscribe button. Also, if you guys are in the market for this device that we're going to be unboxing or any newer iPhone at a discounted price, make sure you guys check out the links in the description section. So as you can see, this one came in this package with, of course, the UPS first class package. It has label and everything in it. We're going to go ahead and unbox it for you guys here so you guys can see. It took about 3 to 4 days after we ordered it to come. So we're going to go ahead, get this unboxing underway here. So as you can see here, some notes here, but essentially we'll put the notes aside. And then as you can see, here's the box. We'll put the box aside completely, and then this aside. And as you can see here, so it didn't look like it came with anything but the phone itself, which is fine. As we mentioned, this phone was $25, and the reason why it was cheap is because it's a really older phone, and the reason why it's so old, but there's still a good purpose to this phone. The iPhone 5S, actually you can update it to iOS 12, and most of the apps so far works on iOS 12. There's apps that are starting to not support iOS 12 since we're on iOS 14, but the iPhone 6 is one of those models that support iOS 12 and can't get past iOS 12, but nonetheless still works. So for basic stuff, put this aside. So the only thing here besides that phone is the actual pamphlet here. If you guys remember, Apple doesn't have this sort of pamphlet anymore. It actually has a really smaller pamphlet nowadays. And as you can see, well, they used to include a lot for you because in the beginning phases, people don't know how to use iPhones that much. So they went and included everything for you. Nowadays, they don't include anything. They're starting to remove everything. But this is a used phone, so I'm surprised the seller here included that. Must be part of the package here that came. So if we take a look at it, remember, keep in mind, this is a used phone. So as you can see here, there's a wear and tear here. It also has that 3.5mm headphone jack, which, as you know, Apple removed it. The speaker, this design, if you remember, it's that flat bezel design, and we're going to show you guys the iPhone 12 here where Apple started to bring that design back again. As we mentioned in our previous video, if you guys haven't seen, Apple is starting to go back to that iPhone 5 design because of the iPhone 6 lineup. They went to those rounded bezel, and that's the unique thing about the iPhone 5S. That's why we're doing this unboxing for you guys, so you guys can see that here. Overall, the condition of this phone, it's a used phone, so but nonetheless the body exterior looks fine. The front here does have markings here, if you can see, light scratches and such, because it is such an old phone. But as we mentioned here, this is an old phone, and we're going to go ahead and set it up, and it looks like we're going to go ahead and put our Wi-Fi password here, and hopefully it connects to the Wi-Fi, and we can go ahead and set this up here. It is much slower than some of the newer phones. All right, so this fails, so you're going to have to go ahead and type the password one more time. The reason why it failed is because I'm so used to using a bigger phone. The screen is so small here that when you press the button, it feels a little different now. Like when you're pressing the button, you accidentally click on other ones that you want. So if you're using an iPhone 12 here that we have side by side here, as you can see the comparison of it, how much things have changed on the 12 here. So we're going to go ahead and keep on setting this up a little more. This phone, the 5S, still has is the first time Apple introduced the Touch ID, which If you remember, the iPhone 5 and the 5C, the other two of the 5 lineup, doesn't have a Touch ID. So this was the unique design when Apple introduced that Touch ID. So all we're doing here is simply just going in, skipping through all the setup. But of course, if you were setting up iPhone 5 here, you would set your things up like adding your Apple ID and much more to it so that you can actually use it. But you can always come back to the settings and set that up. And as we keep on going through all of this, we're just trying to get to the home screen, and voila, we are at the home screen, that iOS 12 screen or screensaver or wallpaper, as you will notice. And here, as you notice here with this phone here, is the iOS 12.5, so it can be updated a little bit further. This is only a 16 gig model, which looks really tiny if you have a newer iPhone. But this phone, we're going to do a more in-depth review for you guys, is actually a decent phone for a backup phone, or if you're a beginner, and it's well built compared to some of the newer phones like we've seen that aren't as well built. It almost seems that if you drop those phones, they easily get damaged, especially ones with the back glass and stuff. But this unique design here is somewhat of one of my favorite phones that I have used in the past, of course, because it's so outdated and such. It doesn't make sense if you're trying to do a lot. But for basic calling, texting, things like that, or just simply browsing, light browsing and things, you're going to be able to do all of that. So it's not that the phone is completely useless compared to the counterparts of the iPhone 5s. If you look at other platforms like the Android ones or even Google phones, some of those phones out there, their counterpart ones don't even make it that far in terms of how old this phone is, and the software updates and apps being able to work. It does a decent job. You can even use it for navigation if you need it for that. As you can see here, navigation wise, camera, not the greatest camera, but Apple phones usually have a decent camera compared to some of the other cameras that we've seen here. It has both back and of course front camera here. So camera wise, using it for just basic maybe email and such, it gets the job done, to be honest with you. It's so tiny compared to just some of the newer smartphones in the market where they go with the bigger design. And this is why we mentioned that this phone, although it is on the smaller side of the phone, probably the battery life isn't the greatest on it because it's an older phone, and nowadays phones have bigger battery. There's a little bit more improvement in the mAh capacity in terms of this battery. So that's probably one of the cons to this phone. But if you guys are looking for this kind of phone, make sure you guys check out the links in the description section. You can probably score this phone under $30-40 depending on where you look at it. We see on eBay this phone goes around $30 or so. And for a beginner phone running on iOS 12, it's a great phone, to be honest with you guys. And hopefully you guys, if you guys aren't in the market, can't afford some of the newer ones because it's so expensive, and iPhones, as you know, are generally really expensive, go check out this phone. Maybe it's something that might be worth getting for yourself. And thanks for watching, guys. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. We're going to be doing a lot more video for you guys on unboxing, show you guys where you can get this kind of phone. So make sure you guys hit that like and subscribe button. See you guys next time.